Good evening, everyone. My name is Gary Vogan of Kaiser Vogan Design. We are land planners, landscape architects local to the city of Franklin, and are the applicant resubmitting this revision 4 of the Reeves-Fleming development plan. Thank you for your time this evening. I would like to set out a few ground rules. There's not many people on this call, but to avoid talking over each other, I'd like to see everybody muted and cameras off at this time as we go through the presentation, and I'd appreciate that. We request that all questions be sent through the chat form, which is located at the top right-hand corner of the GoToMeeting menu. This meeting is being recorded and posted on the city's website as noted in our mailing notifications. Please allow us to run through this presentation and then get to any chat questions at the end. This meeting will be a max hour if required, but thank you. First off, I trust all is well. We welcome those that are part of this neighborhood meeting regarding the proposed continued involvement of this very successful mixed-use master plan known as Berry Farms, in particular this tract, Reeves-Fleming of Berry Farms, unique to the city of Franklin. On the call, we have members of the design team, developers of the project, City of Franklin planning, and potentially city officials may be also present during this call. So first off, I'll start off about the process. Talk about the master plan, show some master plans, graphic illustratives, architecture elevations, and then we'll get into Q&A for those who may have questions about what I'm going to present. So the process, this neighborhood meeting is required because we have submitted a PUD development plan amendment to Reeves-Fleming Berry Farms to reconfigure a portion of the office district within the central portion of the Berry Farms Reeves-Fleming tract. To note, we are not increasing the currently approved entitlements or requesting a zone change. We are just reconfiguring a portion of the central middle room of this Reeves-Fleming tract. I'll get into the specifics of that plan shortly. First off, Berry Farms and this PUD amendment request are in compliance with the Envision Franklin document, of which governs all land uses within the city of Franklin. We submitted this PUD amendment on September 27th of this year for a tentative Franklin Planning Commission meeting on December 9th of this year. At that time, the Franklin Municipal Planning Commission will vote on this PUD request amendment. Owners within 500 feet of the site will also receive notifications of this Planning Commission meeting in December as well. You can follow the city calendar events on their website, or you can attend the Planning Commission meeting in December if you wish to be heard or speak at this meeting as it is public. To note also, this is just a PD plan amendment request. This, if we get so approved by Franklin Planning Commission in December, we can then move forward into construction documents early next year. And again, those construction documents and detailed design would need to be reviewed by Franklin Planning Commission as well. So there's more process that we need to go through. This is kind of the first step of many before we can actually build or grade the site, but this is the first piece of a plan development revision request. So I'll get into it. Talking about the location of the site, as most of you probably know in this call, we are located on the Reeves-Fleming tract, plus or minus 200 acres on the southeast quadrant of I-65 and Goose Creek Bypass. We have Goose Creek Bypass to the north, Haydensville Road to the east, bends off to the east, Pratt Lane going south. There's an existing road infrastructure out there with starting at the mid-block of the site, so to speak, at McBride Lane that enters into a traffic circle roundabout, then proceeds southward on Reeves-Fleming Boulevard that connects you to the Aetna campus office building, down to the Ramsey Solution campus. So these are the only buildings and infrastructure that are currently on site. So that's just kind of the location of the site we're talking about. But we're talking about this tract in particular as a whole, as part of this amendment. This is the originally approved master plan done back in 2005, which denoted what could be done on this site in terms of mix of uses. I changed the orientation a little bit, but Interstate 65 is to the top of the page, Goose Creek Bypass, Pratt Lane, and Haydensville Road to the bottom. What this plan denotes is a mix of red is retail, blue is office, brown is residential. And you can see within the portion of the site, this is McBride Lane. the roundabout, and then traverses on Reams Fleming Boulevard all the way through and past the Aetna building, which is built, and then the Ramsey campus, which is built. So all these other buildings are proposed but not yet completed. Just want to show a frame of reference that what we're talking about. So zooming into the Reams Fleming tract, we're really requesting a revision to the central room, so to speak, on the tract within this red zone here. As you'll note on this plan, this shows a conglomeration of office buildings, road infrastructure, approximately about 19 buildings on this plan. On this mix, what we'd like to do is consolidate these buildings and simplify the plan, but not increase overall density for the entirety of the tract. We can see this is McBride Lane, enters to a roundabout, and then traverses down Reams Fleming Boulevard. But again, we're just focusing on this portion right here that we're asking the request for the change. This plan enlargement shows what we're planning to do, and I'll show a color diagram of this, but I want to show the overall context. Again, we're talking about the central room of Reams Fleming, this tract here. All the other elements of the master plan will remain as is, either office, residential, or retail. But on this plan, you can see here's McBride Lane, the roundabout, and Reams Fleming Boulevard. We really want to centrally locate 5 buildings around the roundabout and along Reams Fleming Boulevard and McBride Lane, and have the parking around the fields of the proposed buildings. And going back to that previous plan, you can see that it was kind of the same. We had similar buildings shown around the roundabout. Just really wish to simplify the campus, reduce the number of buildings, and simplify the parking allocated areas. So from a series of buildings down to 5 buildings centrally located on the site with ancillary parking and a structured parking deck. I'll blow this up a little bit to really enhance the graphics on this so you can see exactly what's going on. But again, we're in the central portion of the room of the Reams Fleming site. This denotes the proposed office buildings and parking configurations. Again, these buildings will range in, located around the central roundabout. They range in height from 4 to 6 stories in height. Shows ancillary parking associated with that. Some of the open space corridors that we're preserving, incorporating a trail system. As part of this, there'll be stormwater quality and drainage and things of that nature, part of the development plan, but that'll get into a little bit more detail as we move into the actual site plans. But this is really just denoting a change to the development plan and how we'd like to reconfigure the buildings on this campus. So in this particular plan, we're showing the buildings up close to the street, orienting themselves around the roundabout with parking behind. We have parking also located along Paynesville and Pratt Lane and McBride Lane, showing the various access points to this parking in the office buildings. I'll showcase a little bit of what we're thinking some of these buildings may look like. And again, these massing plans were included with the PUD development plan submittal to the city. These plans really identify the scale, the massing of the buildings, and how these buildings relate to each other in the street. Final architectural design elements such as materials, colors, masonry types, etc., will be coordinated with the city of Franklin during the PUD submittal, but also future site plan submittals. We'll have to show more detail as we move through the process. But we are held to the city parameters in terms of the zoning ordinance, but also the pattern book for Berry Farms also details some architectural standards that we need to hold to as well. So I'll just quickly flip through some of these. So this is the building as you're coming off of Paynesville Road, entering McBride Lane. The traffic circle is kind of here in this location here. So this is the first building on the left you would see entering just before the roundabout. You can see one of the other 4 remaining buildings in the background there around the central roundabout. This plan pushes a little bit further towards the interstate on McBride Lane towards the roundabout, but shows the other 3 buildings encompassed around the central roundabout as well, showing the character of the relationship of the buildings to the streets, with parking relegated to the rear and location of access points. Moving up towards the roundabout shows the location of the buildings as well. And the last slide is really just the overall master plan as we like to submit to the city, and it's currently under review. But that concludes our presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have, anybody in the audience. Either through chat or if you wish to speak as well, that'd be fine as well. It's such a small group. I see no questions in the chat, I don't think, and I'll conclude the presentation unless there's other questions. Last call. Thank you for everybody's time. Joey, are we good?
Yep.
Okay, thank you all. I appreciate it. Have a good evening.